Thank you so much. It's stories like Toby's and Penny's and Isabella and Marcus and Greg. Thank you for coming. I see you, Penny, in the audience that really inspire us. And as researchers, as an immunologist who's been working on using the immune system to fight cancer for many years and now applying it in the brain, it's those stories and those faces that really give us hope and passion and enthusiasm for what we do every day. I'm not going to talk about my science today, but I really just want to start by expressing my gratitude for Toby and my amazing group of research of consumers. And some of you are here today. David, I see you, they acknowledge you there and your presence, thank you. And really that it's, understanding your patient journey. It really helps us and informs us to develop and improve health outcomes. And we know that we can't do this alone. And you're a very core part of that journey. Now, I said I'm not going to talk about the science, but this is sort of the lab strategy on a page, if you like, for the one, in 20 seconds to tell you about my very broad research program here within the Brain Cancer Centre. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Misty Jenkins and I lead the immunotherapy program for the Brain Cancer Centre. So immunotherapy is about using the patient's own immune system to fight their own cancer. And the beautiful thing about our immune system and our immune cells, like T cells, is that they can cross the all-important blood-brain barrier. So they can get into the brain and they're able to recognise and just kill and destroy brain tumours. And so we're seeing this in the clinic now. And so really that patient journey for that applying immunotherapy to brain tumours really is how we've structured the research program. So in this schematic on the left, what this looks like for a patient journey is that blood would be taken from the patient. Those blood cells are purified. They're given the receptors, the key to fit the lock that recognises the brain tumours, and then they're given back to the patient. And so really this patient journey is how we've structured our research program, right from how we, what are the keys that need to fit the locks? What are the all-important targets or red flags on those tumour cells? And so we spent a lot of time trying to find new targets, how we can design better therapies, how we can combine them with other therapies and then give them back to the patient. And of course, do that in a way that is specific and that it kills the tumour but leaves those all-important healthy cells unharmed. And of course, that's important for the quality of life that we talk about and reducing toxicities and things like that. So that's really what the lab does. And really what I'm here to talk to you about in the next 3 minutes, though, is how we've integrated consumers into every aspect of our research program, right from our lab meetings and grant reviews to open nights. And we recognise that consumers all bring a really unique perspective and that's really critical for shaping our research program, and we're very grateful to you for that. So we do this in a number of ways. We talk to our consumers about, what's important to them. Like what are the big questions or the big topics that are important to them, right from, the toxicity, things like brain fog and toxicities, the debilitating effect of radiation, and for those lucky enough to survive a diagnosis of brain cancer, the debilitating long-term effects is, it can really stop you from living a full life for a lot of patients. And so, knowing how to target our therapies better to reduce side effects is an important way that consumers participate in our program, as well as, understanding that as much as we'd like to do everything, our resources are finite. And so we do have to make some pretty strategic decisions about how we invest in research programs and getting consumers to help us prioritise projects in the lab. Understanding what their expectations are, and of course always reminding us of the real world implications. But I think more importantly is that our consumers bring more than just a patient perspective. So whilst that patient perspective is so powerful and important, they also have incredible expertise, and I'll come back to that. So the way our consumers are engaged in the lab is that we have lab meetings. They come along to our very open and engaged lab meetings with everyone in the team. I have a very democratic style of leadership, so it's not very hierarchical, and so everyone is involved in all ways in lab meetings. Students chair and the like, and consumers are definitely a part of it, and offering real world feedback and asking questions and helping us prioritise things. The all important reviewing our grants and funding applications, making sure that our, hardcore cutting-edge science is understandable and readable and clear to anyone reading an application so that they can understand the impacts and the significance and the benefit of the work that we're doing. And then, of course, just really demystifying the science, opening our doors. I think, certainly when I was younger, I thought that scientists were, just sort of dusty and boring and wore white coats. And I think when you come into the lab and you see, like everyone did stand up today, they are young, they're diverse, of all colours, shapes and sizes and ages, and sort of demystifying that and really that's recognising that science is, yes, it is analytical, but it's also quite creative. I think to sort of solve these complex problems, we've got to think outside the box. And so, we really need that challenge and that creativity, and by bouncing ideas and being open to criticism and feedback is an important part of that. So in conclusion, I think integrating researchers into our programs is critical. And I also want to make the point that, they don't have to be scientists or understand the intricate workings of how to do an experiment, but they bring their corporate knowledge. We've got David, who is a banker for many, many years. And I talked to David about finance and strategy. We've got Gian, who is a medically qualified PhD scientist, but now is a CEO of intensive care, of Australian and New Zealand Intensive Care Society. And we have our newest recruit, Toby, who is an architect, but, founded his own company and run. So we use their world experience as well and their corporate knowledge to be able to inform how we make investment decisions as well. And we remain committed to listening to their feedback and incorporating it into our work. So if you are interested in learning more about the program, as Toby said, there'll be some flyers out the back of the theatre. And for those of you online as well, you can also reach out to Katja Gray, who's extraordinary and wonderful human. That's her email address on the screen. And I encourage you to do so. And thank you very much.